I'm so dumb.
Oh, come on. When have we ever gotten into trouble?
After hearing about The Last of Us Left Behind DLC, I admit my prejudice got the better of me. In my experience, DLC is just an afterthought, a way to add a bunch of combat, a few new fancy weapons that are fun to mess around with, and it's all glued together with a lackluster story to make a little bit more money off the hardcore fans. Here's my point. DLC shouldn't be this good. Left Behind is the opposite of what I expect from DLC. We never get any one-of-a-kind new weapons, and the fight sequences were scarce and never dragged out. In fact, nearly half of the content is cutscenes and storytelling. And this is everything a story should be, because like loyal custodians to their themes, Naughty Dog drew on the staples of literature to preserve their focused message that is ultimately grounded in Eastern philosophies. This is Sole Porpoise, and by the end of this video, you two will be saying this is too good for DLC because we're going to do a comparative analysis of The Last of Us Left Behind, the movie Children of Men, and T.S. Eliot's The Wasteland. So there's no better place to start than one of the main themes in Left Behind, a comparison of the fake and the real. From the fake horse that Ellie rides on the merry-go-round, compared to the real horse that Winston had housed in the mall. To the moment where Ellie plays an arcade game on its own, a fake experience, but actually ends up being a very real bonding experience with Riley.
You throw up your elbows just as he executes his combo. You skid backwards, but take
And
no
of course, the Halloween store that offers fake monsters that Ellie just can't wrap her mind around when she's surrounded by real ones.
People bought this stuff? I don't get it.
This even goes so far as it reaches outside the game. You can actually find the Twitter address of Petville that actually exists right now, as well as the website for the Liberty Gardens Boston, which is up and running. Just think about how big of a deal this is. Naughty Dog has to pay to have this site up, and this all expertly complements this theme of the fake versus the real. Then, finally, there's the photographs that are just everywhere in this game. These facsimiles that are two-dimensional reproductions of the original moments that look identical to the real thing, but they're not. Now, these photographs are salient to understanding the game as a whole, and that's why this concept shows up so often. You find it in the stores that are ransacked. Cameras, these advanced lenses that offer truer images, and fake lighting that helps illuminate all that the image can offer to make it more clear, and with that, a little bit more true to the actual moment. It all helps support this idea of making something that's fake be as true as possible to the real moment. And in regards to the role that photographs play, these frozen moments in time, we even have the opportunity to create our own at the share snap. And as we all know, this doesn't exactly pan out. The printer doesn't work, and we're left considering one of the other major statements made by Left Behind, that this is the contrast between fake and real. Like the broken printer suggests, there's no way to drag these moments out and make them last forever. And what's more, these photographs aren't worth nearly as much to the characters, and even to us, as the actual moment as it's happening. These moments that we find valuable are only going to last for a short amount of time, and it's up to us to appreciate them. And if photographs are an attempted but flawed method to capture the past, well, what about our future? Is there a way to preserve that with the ones that we value? Well, this is also a major theme in Children of Men that we know Neil Druckmann was inspired by when making The Last of Us. Now, spoilers of Children of Men are ahead, and with that said, here's a refresher on the premise. No child has been born for 18 years, society's collapsed, and we're again in the future of a post-apocalyptic world. Then Theo, played by Clive Owen, is introduced to humanity's last hope, Key, a woman who is able to bear children. Now, Theo feels responsible for escorting Key to a safe point where she can save the human race. Sound familiar? Alright, fair enough. If I used pronouns in the last sentence, I could have just described the plot of The Last of Us. But in regards to this theme of appreciating what we value, Children of Men makes a very clear statement that, in so many words, they put like this.
You know that ringing in your ears? That ee? That's the sound of the ear cells dying, like their swan song. Once it's gone, you'll never hear that frequency again. Enjoy it while it lasts.
Now, I admit this on its own wouldn't matter, but every time we see a character die that the audience cares about, we hear Theo's ears ringing.
Jesus! Cover Key!
Fuck! What we got? You look.
Pull my finger.
I'll do it. Fuck you. Pull my finger.
I'm so sorry.
Don't you fucking touch me. You tell me the fucking reason in that.
It's all part of a bigger thing.
Shut up!
Wait,
Shut up and get in the fucking car.
Jasper?
It's fine. Everything's fine.
Our existence is fragile, and because of that, it's up to us to cherish the things that we probably take for granted while they're there. Because once something's gone, well, it can be gone for good. But The Last of Us wasn't the only piece of literature to draw on inspiration. Children of Men uses T.S. Eliot's The Wasteland as what is practically a playbook. After the credits roll, we see the words shanty, shanty, shanty that Eliot uses to end his poem in the same way. And while there's more to it than just this, infertility, as you may have guessed, plays a huge role in both stories. Here's some background. The Wasteland was written after World War I, where infertility was a problem since many young men who didn't have children yet and were in their prime were killed on the battlefield. So Eliot was describing an actual problem that stemmed from despair rather than a predicted one like Children of Men and The Last of Us. Eliot executes this theme of infertility through referencing the Fisher King from Arthurian legend who receives a wound near the groin, thus inflicting a blight of infertility on his land. The way to cure his infertility is through seeking the Holy Grail, which, because of his miraculous properties, can cure the Fisher King from his wound. But Eliot doesn't clearly end his poem with the Holy Grail being found, leaving its interpreters to believe that we're left on our own to solve our own problems with an unclear solution. Children of Men, however, suggests that we do have access to a Holy Grail, and the hope that's associated with this is what we should fight for. Of course, this is in contrast to what's offered as a solution to the despair before we know about Key's ability to bear children.
What keeps you going?
You know what it is, Theo? I just don't think about it.
And here's how The Last of Us and Left Behind makes a statement for which I actually wasn't prepared. Ellie is supposed to be our Holy Grail, but we can't use her as one because of what we find out in the end of The Last of Us and the climax of Left Behind. Because we love, we are our own obstacle from receiving our cure. The glaring example is from my analysis of The Last of Us, where I looked at our evolutionary predisposition for being able to love. But I just kind of glossed over one of the key facts in The Last of Us. The fact that Ellie isn't related to Joel by blood, and Joel still loves her as a daughter. And while this is part of human nature for all the reasons that I mentioned, it's contrary to the most tangible driving force behind evolution, our natural tendency to want to perpetuate our own genes. And using our resources to care for someone else's kin doesn't directly accomplish this goal. But it's because Joel loves Ellie that he's unable to see her as our Holy Grail. However, I think we, the audience, still did. We still had hope that, like Key, this immunity to cordyceps in Ellie's DNA would someday, down the line, be passed on to her kin. And related to this theme of infertility in the Wasteland, we find out in Left Behind that Ellie is gay. So there's a lot of controversy over if this kiss means Ellie is gay or not. A lot of arguments have been made for her being confused or bisexual or whatever else, and even though Neil Druckmann has confirmed that Ellie is gay, I don't think saying that is all that satisfying. I'm more interested in how Naughty Dog presented Ellie and Riley's relationship, because it wasn't just the kiss for me that makes me feel like I'm on firm footing to think that Ellie is gay. It was a culmination of all of the events. The fact that her picture was still posted in Ellie's room, Ellie's anger towards Riley leaving her.
Why did you leave without telling me?
I was in a weird space. Look, I didn't tell anyone.
But I wasn't just anyone. Was I?
And how they could influence each other to be better people.
Who am I to stop you?
The one person that can.
So stupid.
Get your ass up here.
Stupid.
So, I admit Ellie's stolen kiss was huge, but it was just an exclamation point on this already beautiful love story. And I suspect one of the reasons people are reluctant to say that Ellie is gay is because of what it means for humanity's future. Because with this fact, Ellie likely won't bear children, or At the very least, she won't be driven to through love, which is consistent with the theme of infertility. And because her infertility is a byproduct of this beautiful love story that's just too short. Unlike The Wasteland, Left Behind takes a stance on what's left after the end of the world. Our ability to love others still holds strong, even when that love doesn't offer our genes any direct benefit. What we live for isn't preserving the past, and it's not about securing our future. It's about living for what we have. As Riley puts it,
There are a million ways we should have died before today. And a million ways we can die before tomorrow. But we fight for every second we get to spend with each other. Whether it's 2 minutes or 2 days, we don't give that up.
Left Behind makes a statement that our ability to love transcends just an evolutionary benefit. It's a part of who we are, whether it's practical or not. It's not about could Ellie be the remedy for humanity, a holy grail that can restore our species and cure us all from probable extinction, now or in the future. Instead, Ellie and Riley's story shows just how powerful love is. And the downside, of course, is we're doomed. All of us. We're permanently bound to the knowledge that we're going to lose the ones that we love. It's just a matter of when. We're like hostages. Hostages of time. We have no say in how much we have, and no appeal to file for how little we had. And as much as we try to overcome this fact using things like photographs to capture these moments in time, they're only facsimiles and never the real thing. Nothing can give us these experiences again, and there's nothing we can do to slow them down as they're happening, allowing us to haphazardly collect all that these moments can offer. All we can do is appreciate the moments we have with those we love. And while we're all guilty of being caught in complacency, finding it easier to just not think about the grim fact that we're going to lose the ones that we care about, there are these moments. They're brief and they're rare, and they remind us just how appreciative we are to have what we have and to enjoy it while it lasts. And that's exactly what we gain from Left Behind. If you're looking for more content just like this, make sure to subscribe because more is on the way, and be sure to check out how the Mass Effect trilogy offers instructions on the meaning of life. This is Soul Porpoise, and thanks for watching, guys.